Hello and welcome to VOA's Red Carpet. I'm your host, Jackson Bunganyi, with the latest in celebrity news, in fashion, in sports, film, television, from around the world. Let's go! And we start off with some big news in the world of Bond. James Bond, that is. Reports said that British actress Lashana Lynch will be the first ever black and female 007 in the upcoming 25th James Bond film. Daniel Craig returns as a retired Bond, with Lynch taking over his well-known secret agent number, fighting a villain played by Bohemian Rhapsody's Rami Malek. Lynch is best known as Maria Rambeau in Captain Marvel, but that is all set to change in the next Bond film. We all can't wait for that. And singer R. Kelly is once again in the headlines, and now he's facing federal charges on sex crimes for allegedly forcibly transporting women and girls across state lines for illegal sexual activity. He was arrested and will now remain locked up for the time being, following a hearing during which the judge ruled against granting bond. We'll keep you updated as this story develops. And next, a story for aspiring actors out there. Uzo Adubo got her big break on the Netflix series Orange is the New Black, which took one white woman's story of life in prison and created a tapestry of roles for women of color. Adubo's character, Crazy Eyes, became a regular part of the show and earned her 2 Emmys, 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards, and a Golden Globe.
I think the energy was exciting because it was so new for all of us, you know. That's the end of the day. A lot of us hadn't really worked in this medium before, and the fact that we were getting other opportunities to make work, art, create other characters outside of Orange was exciting for us.
Adubo says her higher profile comes with the responsibility to represent people outside the mainstream.
I am trying to tell the stories of the missing, the people and the voices that are missing in the tapestry. That is what I'm trying to do with my art, whether it's stories we know but haven't seen told through this particular voice, or stories we've never seen before.
And Adubo's upcoming projects include the film Beats and the FX series Mrs. America. A young albino man in Malawi is using music to fight discrimination and misconceptions about the genetic condition in a country where more than 100 albinos have been attacked since 2014. Lazarus Chigwandali has long been performing on the streets of Lilongwe, but after catching the eye of a Swedish producer, he began work on an album due out next month. He's also about to embark on a nationwide tour to promote a documentary produced by American pop star Madonna. Lamek Masina has our story from Lilongwe. Let's check it out.
As teens, Lazarus Chigwandali and his late brother, who also had albinism, played on the streets, mostly to raise money to buy protective skin lotion.
In those days, it was difficult to find skin lotion that would protect us from the sun, so we had sores all over our bodies. As a result, many people were discriminated against because of the way our bodies looked.
Discrimination and attacks against albinos like Chigwandali continue. Some Africans believe their body parts, used in so-called magic potions, bring good luck. At 39, Chigwandali began composing songs about the myths and misconceptions about people with albinism. Then he had music producers from abroad wanted to meet him at his home village to record his music, something that worried wife.
I was still afraid that maybe they wanted to kidnap us all. Then I heard my husband talking with a friend of his on the phone. That's when I knew that this was a peaceful move.
The recording deal enabled Chigwandali produce a 30-track music album, Stomp on the Devil, which denounces attacks on albinos.
With the challenges that people with albinism are going through in Malawi, we felt like his powerful voice can be an instrument to send the message across the world that, you know, people born with albinism are just like anybody else.
While some of his songs are playing on local radio stations, Chigwandali says there's still a long way to go before the attacks end.
There are still others who ignore the messages in my songs. This means a lot of work, but we will soon start a nationwide tour to screen my documentary, which shows attacks on people with albinism in Malawi.
But his wife worries that Chigwandali's growing fame could expose him and their two albino sons to potential attackers. To ease their concerns, Chigwandali's managers have launched a fundraising initiative to build a house for the family that will provide greater security. Lamek Masina for VOA News, Lilongwe.
Rapper Nicki Minaj does not play around when it comes to showing her support for women's rights, gay rights, and freedom of expression, so much that she has pulled out of a concert in Saudi Arabia. When news broke that the rapper was going to headline the event, she received a ton of backlash, including a statement issued by the Human Rights Foundation calling for her and her performers to reconsider. And Minaj is just that. Minaj said, quote, "After careful reflection, I have decided to no longer move forward with my scheduled concert at Jeddah World Fest." The rapper told the Associated Press, "While I wanted nothing more than to bring my show to fans in Saudi Arabia, after better educating myself on the issues, I believe it is important for me to make clear my support for the rights of women, the LGBTQ community, and of freedom of expression." Young Ethiopian musicians living in Israel are using the stage and their songs to tell the public about alleged police brutality. In his song Handcuffed, rapper Teddy Negus addresses violence against young Israeli men of Ethiopian descent. And although the song came out in 2017, it has recently reached new heights in the wake of street protests across the country following the killing of an Ethiopian Israeli teen by an off-duty police officer last month. The 23-year-old artist was invited to perform his song live on the popular news website Ynet, where he discussed ongoing struggles against racism and discrimination some 3 decades after Ethiopian Jews began arriving in Israel.
Violence is never the solution, in my opinion. But if you are looking at recent events, it is important to note that violence is the result. But it's not the way. It's not supposed to be the way. It is a call for help, a cry of an entire community. And if something helped me to see everyone at eye level, it's music.
Ethiopians make up about 2% of Israel's population. And musician Yael Mentesnot says that past restraint has made the community end up coming off a bit naive. But she says everyone went to the streets frustrated and released their anger over last month's killing, and that has changed her outlook.
The next things I want to do are things that speak more about my people, the community, that will reflect on everything happening today. And I want everyone, the entire public, to see it, to understand what we feel, but not from a place of victimhood, from a place of strength, like no one can break me or can't break us.
The new version of The Lion King is bringing all types of royalty together. And yes, you know who we are talking about. That's the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They met Beyonce and Jay-Z in London when the two couples attended the star-studded premiere of the film. Other celebrities who attended were Elton John, Pharrell Williams, and the rest of the cast of the new film. The casting of Beyonce as the voice of Nala was praised as a great move because of the star power and raw talent that she brings to the iconic role. Beyonce also produced a companion album titled The Lion King: The Gift that features original songs from artists including Afrobeat stars Wizkid, Techno, Yemi Alade, Mr. Easy, and Burna Boy. Beyonce says that the soundtrack is a love letter to Africa. The visuals of her single Spirit include scenic images and sights of the animal kingdom, with an appearance by her daughter Blue Ivy. Amnesty International has brought to Kenya a Netflix miniseries about 4 young black men wrongfully jailed for sexual assault in New York. The human rights group says its special screening of When They See Us is meant to give Kenyans an idea on how to exercise their rights when arrested and the role of media in fighting for justice. And from Nairobi, VOA Swahili Huba Abdi has this story. Let's check it out.
Is my mom here?
The 4-episode series depicts the true story of the Central Park Five, the 5 young black men in New York City whose childhoods were cut short when they were convicted of sexual assaulting jogger Trisha Mail in 1989, only to be exonerated in 2002. The story also shows how a broken system and biased media coverage destroyed the lives of the young men and their families. Amnesty International screened the show in Nairobi's Dandora slum, where the United Nations says people live in one of the most polluted sites in the world. Amnesty's Kenya director, Irunga Yutons, says it was aimed at showing Dandora residents some of the challenges to finding justice.
We thought this was too important a movie to be shown in CBD or in the suburbs of Nairobi. We would come to the place where the issues that the movie covers really are reflected in the life experiences of the young youth and men and women that you see here today.
Dandora resident Wilson Kinywa came to watch the miniseries. He says he spent 30 years in prison on a wrongful conviction, studied law in jail, and successfully fought for his release.
The studies that I did while in jail opened my eyes to see which part of my case wasn't fair and the unfair process that I went through. I took my case to court again. The Constitution petition is affecting a lot of prisoners who found themselves in my position. 12 of us who were prisoners opened our cases again, and I was representing all of them. I was given a chance to submit my case in front of judges for an hour and a half, oral and written submission.
Na nikapewa nafasi ya kufanya hiyo kesi, kusubmit mbele ya majaji. 1.5 hours. Nikafanya oral and written submissions.
Kibera Court Judge Barbara Ojo came to the screening. She says fear and a lack of knowledge about their rights are some of the biggest challenges for citizens in the criminal justice system.
We say when police arrest you, they must tell why they arrest you. You have a right to know why you are arrested. It is your constitution right, article number 50. So we see that is an issue. People need to understand the importance of their rights. It is part of our Bill of Rights under Chapter 4 of the Constitution. We have seen this is a very important issue for them to know and understand.
The screening followed a Human Rights Watch report accusing Kenyan police of killing 21 people in Nairobi slums over the last year.
And before we come to the end of our show today, we wanted to bring to your attention a new Netflix series to be on the lookout for, which will apparently give us an insight into what it is like being young and black in Italy. Created by Angolan-Italian writer and TV host Antonio Di Chele Di Stefano, the series Zero will focus on a shy African Italian with a superpower that encourages him to open up and love others. Di Stefano, who is just 27 years old, said in a statement from Netflix that, quote, the story of a special boy, of a black guy, who, thanks to his superpower, manages to see the reality behind the appearance of things, people, and relationships, end quote. Production for the series is scheduled to start next year. And thanks for watching VOA's Red Carpet. I'm your host, Jackson Vunganyi. For more entertainment news, check us out on www.voanews.com or on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Remember to subscribe and share with your friends. We'll catch you next time. Goodbye.